I don't think there's any reason to have an assault rifle in the U.S.
Well-armed militia might be really useful.
I just want to see politicians do something.
It's so easy to say, I can just go and just get an abortion.
Are you saying there should be like a limit?
The vast majority of people coming to this country, right, are not swimming the Rio Grande.
No, but there are a lot that do come here like that.
How was the shrimp pasta?
It was a little dry, if I'm being honest.
Oh, okay. Thanks for joining me. Tonight we're going to have a nice melting pot of different friends and family. We have Megan, an educator from Fordham University. Andrew, he is someone who I met through local organizing. And we also have Laura, who is a corporate professional, and Sierra, an amazing writer, a creative soul and poet, and we'll be talking politics at the table.
Cheers to the hosts.
As an educator now on a college campus, what I see with the students is sort of like not really, I feel like, understanding what protest is supposed to do, what it's supposed to accomplish, right? The crux of the issue for a lot of them is about asking the universities to divest, right, from Israeli companies or Israeli affiliated companies entirely. If you just take that ask, Google has a military contract with Israel, right? So are you asking the university to take Google out of everyone's 401k? You know, like I have something to say about that. There's a little bit of what are we asking and what are our goals that aren't quite clear, right?
Yeah. I do understand why they're protesting, but they're also forgetting about genocides that are happening across the world. Why Palestine? Why Israel? Like, why is that one so reticent? Why is that so exciting for them?
Because it's an issue that splits the Democratic Party.
They gravitate to popularity. So whatever's being, advertised, whatever's being put out there, that's what they know. It's more work to do the research.
Of course.
I was in DC watching Columbia, like back in April, I think, when it really tore off. Got really crazy from what I saw.
Yeah, I think once there's property damage, those people should be held accountable. But if they want to protest in the common areas and feel like their voice is being heard and shout through megaphones, hold up signs, go for it. But once you start spray painting, arrest those guys. That's my opinion.
All right, we have some very hot and delicious plates. Rasta pasta of the shrimp variety and the classic oxtail. They're not very stingy, as you can see. Jerk chicken.
Wow.
Finally, curry goat.
Ooh, yummy.
Feel free to pass that down, take some.
Immigration is one of those problems I feel like on both sides of the political spectrum, no one's really committed to fixing it. Undocumented workers in this country are just such a financial boom that everyone is kind of invested in keeping the status quo.
I can't imagine what their lives were like before to take all that risk where they might die in the back of a freighter and just suffocate with 30 other people as they're crossing the border.
See, the interesting thing about that is the vast majority of people coming to this country, right, are not swimming the Rio Grande.
Right.
That's like a fiction we tell ourselves about.
No, but there are a lot that do come here like that. My pastor, what he's been doing is allowing them to use the kitchen, and a family came in and the lady's story had me so scared. She spoke about her husband and her 3 children going through the jungle and hearing pumas breathing behind them.
I think the only other thing on immigration that I've been thinking about, it would probably be if more people had to serve in the armed forces. And my dad overstayed a visa and got his papers by signing up for the army. If you really want to stay here, I think you should have to give something.
I was in the Army for 10 years and really changed the experience of how I see America and how I cherish this country. So I think that's a great idea.
Very interesting. I'm not 100% agreeing, but I see the points. I see the points.
How was the shrimp pasta?
It was good. You didn't try it?
Suspicious. I see too much on the plate.
No, it was good.
There you go.
It was absolutely good.
It was a little dry, if I'm being honest.
Yes.
Oh,
I didn't want to say.
There's
liked
the catch.
It was.
I don't think there's any reason to have an assault rifle in the U.S.
What's an assault rifle?
Something that's similar to an M16, something similar to what we carried in Iraq or Afghanistan. Like, well, you were raised with weapons. What do you think?
Maybe this is going to surprise some people, but well-armed militia might be really useful in those scenarios, right? Like in protecting against authoritarianism, right?
With the weapons we have now versus, say, the military steps in, like there's no way an individual citizen can compete, or a group of citizens can compete with an armored tank, or like,
Yeah.
I mean.
As someone who was raised in the Bronx, I was never introduced to guns, so I don't even know what the process is. I couldn't tell you, like, what is it that you need to do in order to learn or
You
like
need
be able to handle.
drive to Walmart in New Jersey,
Right.
walk in.
What about ghost guns? That's crazy.
What's that? I don't even know.
Like you can make a gun off of stuff you buy off the internet. Like you can have it digitally printed, which is
Oh yeah,
crazy,
yeah,
and it doesn't
yeah,
have
the
any
3D
serial
printer
number.
and-
And it's like, and it functions just like a weapon. Could kill someone just like a weapon.
So with this machine, somewhere in that process, it should get stuck. It should not continue.
What about if you just printed out different pieces of a weapon and then you put it together? You don't have to print it out all together.
I think a really simple thing would just to have like federal mandatory waiting periods, right?
Like let's try something rather than just sitting around and just saying, oh, I guess thoughts and prayers don't work. Like, what are we gonna do? I just want to see politicians do something.
All right.
Yeah, what is this?
We got some deep fried Oreos.
Oh man.
Okay.
And we also have some tres leches cake.
I just lost 30 pounds.
We'll catch you up, don't worry.
I'm a pro-choice person. I feel like if you're not ready, you don't have the finances, that you don't have the resources, that you don't have the support, do not put yourself in a predicament just because you're choosing to like persevere in a name. I don't know, like you just don't get an award for like struggling.
You should definitely have a choice to make a decision on what you do with your body. But if you knowingly are making the wrong choices, then you should have to deal with what comes along with that.
Agreed.
So if I'm 15 years old and I know that I shouldn't be sexually active and I end up pregnant, it's so easy to say, oh, well, I can just go and just get an abortion.
No, agreed.
There should be
You don't think that them having to
a
go
consequence.
get an abortion, because an abortion is not just like, hey, showing up and like, oh, you just had an abortion. Like it's still a process. Right?
It is definitely
You're
a
still
process.
paying for it.
Definitely, and I've seen young women get 5 and 6 of them.
Are you saying there should be like a limit?
I'm saying that you need to be responsible for your body.
I understand what you're saying. There are, you know, those certain individuals who they knowingly know what they're doing. But for the majority, at 15, how are you gonna know? It's a lot of
Your brain's
misinformation.
not even fully formed.
But until
At
25,
15, you don't know that you could get pregnant?
it could be a
Some kids don't.
possibility. My mother never spoke to me about sex.
My mom told us you could get pregnant from kissing. And so I wasn't even trying to kiss until I was in high school when I realized she was lying.
Right.
As an associate dean of allied health, consider it entirely a medical issue. By that, I just mean it's a decision made between a woman and her healthcare provider, and therefore is protected by doctor-patient privilege.
Yeah, HIPAA. It's true. It's complicated. I can't believe we're still talking about this 40 years later.
Thank you for sharing this.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you for the delicious food.
So good.
And I'll call you about the housewarming.
Yeah.
The official. We need to get
When the
details.
registry's out.